They're in the grocery store line with you. They're cheering on the sidelines at the soccer fields. They're at network meetings, PTA meetings, and marketing expos. I'm talking about those everyday entrepreneurs that you won't find on the internet interview circuit, but you will find on the Queen's Branding Tour. We'll find those entrepreneurial gems and bring their stories to you. I'm Jennifer Darden with the Queen's Empire. Welcome to the first episode of the Queen's Branding Tour. We are right here on location recording live, and we have all the energy pumping around us, and as it gets closer to lunchtime, the place is going to become really crowded. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the broadcast today. Welcome to the first show. So who am I and what is the Queen's Branding Tour all about? Well, I wanted to focus on the web TV and the video technology, and I wanted to show businesses how they could use this technology to help you to grow your brand. I'm a writer and a photographer. I do video scripts, web TV, I do fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and business photos, on-location events, and portraits. And I wanted to, like I said, show people how they could utilize this new technology to help you to outreach a global audience with your brand and to help you grow your business. You can find out a lot about me on my Twitter page, on Facebook, and on my blogs. And if you're on my Facebook page, you've probably seen quite a lot of me lately with all the videos that have been streaming through the internet lately. So I'm excited to bring up my first guest today. Kim Finley is the marketing manager at Atlanta Bread. Kim has lived in Tidewater for 25 years. She considers Virginia Beach her home. She has 2 children, 1 husband, and no pets. She has been on just about every side of business, from office manager to admin, accounts, sales, management. She loves the marketing most because it allows her to get behind something that she really believes in without having to bring direct pressure on anyone to buy. It's more about brand awareness and top-of-mind consciousness and building relationships that pay dividends. She belongs to BNI Retail Alliance, Geekettes Club, and 2 book clubs. She's blessed with friends all over the world and an appetite for fun, so that makes her the perfect first guest for the Queen's Branding Tour. And I love this part. Her ultimate desire is to be as happy as possible, as much of the time as possible. Please welcome my first guest, Kim Finley, the marketing manager at Atlanta Bread. Thank you for being my first guest on the show.
I am so excited. I'm thrilled to be here.
Like I said, the first guest or the first interview, so no one else will ever get to claim that prestigious title again. So, we are going to talk about one of our favorite topics today, branding, personal branding. So let's kick it off with, what is a tantalizing brand to you?
To me, a tantalizing brand would be one that it takes your interest every time you see it. You're interested in knowing what it means, what it represents. You want to know more. Mm-hmm. That's really the essence of tantalizing anything. You want to know more. You want to see more.
Right. Give them a little bit so that they want more.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about, what are the ingredients for creating a tantalizing brand?
For me, I would say visibility is key. You have to be visible, present, out there all the time, top of mind consciousness, as we've talked about before. Also, accessibility. It has to be something that people care about, want to know more about. It has to be something people want. Also, it needs to be attractive. It has to have a pull, a plug, a something that grabs people. So I would say that's the main part of it.
Now how are some of the ways that you create that tantalizing brand here at Atlanta Bread? What are some of the things that you do, the activities?
We do a lot of different types of things, many of which are extremely low cost, which is quite nice for a restaurant. Networking, personal networking is key. Getting myself and Catherine, our chef, out there in the public, I think that makes a huge difference to setting us apart. The fact that we do have a chef is a huge part of our brand. It's a huge part of the attention-getting thing. People are more impressed and more likely, in particular, to want to talk to us about catering and parties, knowing that we have a chef that trained in France. She's an extremely versatile actual cook. You know, she's chef with a capital C, and that's the number one thing that I really, really try to make very visible and very present and very top of mind for people, because it is different. It's very, very rare in this market of chains and franchises to have that sort of credibility, so to speak, which applies particularly to our catering. So.
And you're right, and I know that Catherine and I kind of have that, having the cooking blog myself. I really enjoy cooking and enjoy talking with her, and you're going to hear from her too later on in the show. But you're right, having that cook, having that specialty, and knowing that they're going to get something special, if they're going to get that attention and that skill, that it's not going to just be any old thing, that it's able to be customized to what they want.
Right. We do other things. Of course, we have the Facebook page, which we try to update, and we Twitter, we blog, we do all those things, social media things that you sort of have to do these days, again, to stay present in an online world where everyone is turning over quickly. You need to be constantly, hello, here I am, how are you? Constantly. You don't want anyone to forget that you're there. So we do that. I do a lot of personal networking with all those groups that I'm members of that we talked about. That pays off huge dividends for us. There is nothing like building a relationship in business. There's nothing that I don't think replaces. I don't care how good your advertising is. If your customers don't have a feel for you, good luck to you. At least in our industry, certainly food is personal,
right?
And so that's a huge part of what we do.
Well, I know, and one of the things that you and I had talked about before is, is it for people out there that might be branding, starting a new business, or just thinking maybe they're readjusting their brand, is it more important to brand a name, a first and last name, or is it more important to have a company name, or does it matter depending on the business?
I think it depends. In my experience, Atlanta bred. We're not in Atlanta. Using us as an example, but because I'm the marketing director, I'm the face. People know who I am. Their relationship is going to be with me first. I'm the first one that's going to get them in our door. But they're going to have a further relationship with Catherine as the chef, because they're going to have to deal with her for any sort of catering issues. So my name is important. My credibility is in my name, but I'm affiliated with the name of the business. It's not like I'm just Kim Finley. I'm Kim Finley of Atlanta Bread, and people know that. So I almost think you almost have to work it for both. I mean, if you're Radio Shack, you just need to say you're Radio Shack, because that's huge. But if you're a small business or you're just starting out, I almost want to say, again, I always go back to the personal, always go back to the relationship, because ultimately you might be selling a product, but ultimately people are buying you. They're buying the person that they are meeting, and they're buying your integrity and your credibility.
Absolutely. And even going back to the example of the Radio Shack, the people, they have salespeople there, and if they have people that go out, so in any business, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you come on the show was that you are doing personal branding. You work with a company and you love what you do, but still people connect with you. Yeah. They come when they're at a network meeting or they meet you first. Yes. They're connecting with you as a person. Right. So they may not even know about Atlanta Bread. They're coming in here and checking it out because you said, here's this really cool place. So they're really connecting with you first. So I think you're right. As far as the name, whatever it is, you've still got to market it. You've still got to get out there and meet people face to face or online or however you meet people, or both, a combination of both.
I totally agree with that.
Now, one other ingredient that I want to talk about is one thing that I didn't mention. This is an interactive broadcast. I should have mentioned that in the beginning. If you want to type in any questions, feel free. We'd love to know who's out there logging and watching us, so please type in your name if you haven't already, and tell us where you are tuning in from. And then, if you have any questions during the broadcast for Kim or I, just go ahead and type those in, and we will be happy to answer those for you.
Absolutely.
So one ingredient I definitely want to talk about is passion.
Yes.
And everybody says, follow your passion and do what you really, really love. And that's all true, definitely. I think both of us are living examples of that, as well as Catherine. But I think that you have to have your goals to back that up. The passion is the fuel that really gets you going and drives you and keeps you going past the challenges and the obstacles. But you really need your goals and your plan, your strategy, and everything to back that up.
I would agree with that, because passion will only get you so far, because passion will get you to the first thing that knocks you down. And there's always going to be something. That's every business, especially in this economy. Hello. So I think that passion's all well and good to get you going, but you better have a strategy, you better have a plan, you better have a plan B, C, and D, and you really better just be prepared to work really hard, because passion will not do that for you.
Right.
Your passion should fuel your desire to work really hard, hopefully you have that. You got to have a work ethic. But it's really funny because we're in such a culture where we believe that that's everything. Passion is, you can't do anything without it. You have to really, if you really want to be successful and really want to love what you do, you have to feel strongly about it. But you have to be willing to go, okay, I feel really strongly about it. Now let me figure out how I'm going to make that a real thing.
Right.
The classic example of that, in small business that became huge is Mary Kay Ash. She was very passionate about helping women feel better about themselves and feel empowered, especially women who were at that time just moving into the workplace. She was very strongly about that, but she had to do a lot of work to get this company off the ground. She had to do testing and product testing and marketing, and she had to learn everything. Mm-hmm. So she's a classic example of passion's one thing, hard work is everything else.
Well, she was a strong businesswoman.
She was very strong. She learned to be.
Right.
She was willing to try, and I just think that's
well, at a time for women when that wasn't
in
normal.
Particular.
That wasn't normal for a strong businesswoman.
Completely above the field. Yeah, she was the bomb.
Well, and another example that I like is, and people feel one way or the other, but Martha Stewart. Her older shows.
Thing.
I mean, you can't deny the empire that she's built, the brand that she's built. And when I looked at trying to do the Queen's branding tour, I really wanted something that focused on the everyday entrepreneur. But I really liked her older shows where she would go out and she would find people that you hadn't really heard of. She would work with businesses that you didn't even know existed, but she would go into their world. And that's what I really wanted to do with this, was really to come into the world of the entrepreneur, get a feel for the look, the feel, the taste, the brand, everything that you guys are doing. And I think that she's a classic example of that.
Totally.
We're going to talk a little bit about how you combine all of these ingredients and the different things that you're doing. Things like, well, one thing, we'll just go point by point. You had mentioned before self-knowledge.
Yeah. In that, I think we had talked before, it was, to some extent, to do what you're going to do, particularly if you're in any sort of public interface, which the whole restaurant industry is public interface, you have to know what you're good at and know what you're not. In as much as know what your strengths are so that you can work them effectively. And know that maybe these areas are not your best, and either find someone who is really great at those areas, or, which is what Catherine and I sort of do, we're very complimentary that way.
Great examples of that.
We're very good examples of, she's such a good creative individual. She does not love the social scene so much. I would prefer to be out with people all the time, and very much dislike detail stuff. So we're a nice balance. That being the case, because I don't enjoy detail doesn't mean I get to not do it.
Right.
That's something I'm always working on. I'm always having to be better at. I don't think that should be an excuse for not doing well, or for not trying to get better at those things that you're weak at. I know what I'm good at. I'm really good at being out there with people. I'm really good at networking. I'm very good at building relationships. So everyone, I think, if you're going to be doing any kind of marketing, period, or branding, you have to know what your strengths are and play to them, and then start working on your weaknesses. It's not okay to just go, I'm not good at that.
Right. You can't say, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going.
You don't get to do that.
We'd all like to do that, right?
Well, yeah, but you have to. And again, or find someone who's good at it.
Delegate. Love that word. Delegate.
Delegate. Me too.